In the second half of the 2000s, I was an edgy teenager, and as such, I had declared myself an atheist. I went online in search of atheist content, and surely enough I found it. It was the Atheist Experience on YouTube, a show where Christians can call in and have debates with real atheists. It was fun to listen to, and I felt more validated and smarter after each episode, so naturally I wanted more. And so I came across this guy right here. TJ Kirk, the amazing atheist. The OG YouTube skeptic, at least for me. And the main gist of his content, early on at least, was opposing American fundamentalist Christians, who actually used to be a presence on YouTube back then, believe it or not. And by that I mean people producing content which was solely focused on Christianity. Not long after I came across Thunderfoot with his series about creationism, and Pat Condell, one of the best atheist orators on YouTube at the time, and then Armored Skeptic at some point, along with a few others I cannot really recall anymore. At that time, anti-religious content was the bread and butter of the YouTube skeptosphere. Up until around the early 2010s, I should say, where all of their contents pretty much at the same time started shifting towards a certain direction. Skepticism against Christianity started fading into the background. And I mean, no wonder, the well wasn't that deep. There was a finite amount of arguments in favor of Christianity, and it wasn't the brightest people making them, so long story short, the YouTube skeptosphere had to look for new content. And guess what? They fucking found it. The new targets became feminism and progressivism, and sometimes Islam. Every single YouTube skeptic I was following started making video after video after video about feminism, progressivism, weird posts on Tumblr. That became the sole focus of their content. And, as an edgy teenager, I fucking loved it. It was a lot of fun to watch them go against these purple hair, screeching, man-hating, fun-ruining feminist types. And then came this little-known event called Gamergate, which saw these content creators just catapulted into space in terms of views. Entire reactionary channels grew out of this, just by doing anti-feminist pro-Gamergate content, including our friend Sargon of Akkad, whom I found during that time and so became a fan of his. However, the content these people produced soon started to shift. We went from, haha, these dumb feminists, to our entire existence is now under threat by these feminists. We have swung too far to the left and now we have to immediately course correct back towards the center. They want to end sexual dimorphism. They want to end masculine men and feminine women. They want to turn us all into these pudgy, non-gender specific blobs who will live out their miserable, depressed life because they are forced to act contrary to their own nature in this ultra-PC hell that we're constructing, that is flowing out of these SJW-infested universities, which are now basically these progressive indoctrination centers. If you let them win, you will not see any more hot women or masculine men. They say it's sexist. We know it's normal. What do? The left has simply flung too far. I mean, hey, we're classical liberals, we believe in the meritocracy, we believe in colorblindness. I guess our only choice now is conservatism. If you are a classical liberal, a centrist, you have to vote for conservatives to try and drag the liberal left back towards the center from this insanity. This is where I was, along with millions of others. Without me noticing, this anti-feminist, anti-SJW classical liberal content had managed to implant this debilitating fear inside me. I honestly felt attacked, really, under siege. Skeptics told me that feminists think that my masculinity is toxic. What? That's not true. I'm just a normal guy. I'm not toxic. My god, these feminists are insane. What's this? They're now harassing some kind of old Canadian college professor or something? Jesus, that's terrible. As time went on, I sank deeper and deeper into essentially doomerism. And consequently, I was listening to more and more Sargon of Akkad. But something was bugging me about him. Something was wrong. The things he said, the arguments he made, just started ringing increasingly hollow. He sounded more and more like those Christians back in the day, making the exact same arguments over and over again, just perhaps dressed up a bit differently each time. I mean, it felt like Groundhog Day. At that point I still wasn't a leftist, and if you ask me, I would have told you I am a classical liberal. But that bugging feeling was there, the exact same feeling I had back in the day when I first started doubting Christianity. So I took a deep breath, went back on YouTube, and searched for something like Sargon of Akkad debunked or something. I was interested to see if anyone could stand up against Sargon's ideas. And the thing about Sargon and people like him back in the day is that they absolutely dominated YouTube, at least in terms of this whole anti-SJW content and culture war. Smaller left-leaning content creators who opposed these people were absolutely dogpiled. If you made a video against one of them, you could expect tens of thousands of dislikes, thousands of comments, people calling you all sorts of names, sending you death threats. It was fucking terrible. So the environment itself wasn't really in favor of any sort of leftist content. However, despite of this, I did manage to find two excellent content creators through that YouTube search. H-Bomber Guy and Sean. They both had videos debunking Sargon of Akkad, and they were excellent. The two videos I saw, Anti-Feminism vs. Facts and Sargon of Akkad Can't Read, suddenly gave voice to all my misgivings about Sargon. And with that, his entire channel and content just unraveled. And for the first time, I saw him for what he really is. A confused and underinformed British middle-aged man just barking into a microphone about the exact same things for half a decade. Through Sean and H-Bomber Guy, a whole new world of content opened up for me on YouTube, leftist content mostly. And I found that these feminists I've been hearing so much about from these shouty men on YouTube were actually not evil. They didn't want to end sexual dimorphism. They didn't want to turn us into these pudgy, sad, non-gender specific blobs. I've learned about toxic masculinity. Namely, that it doesn't mean that masculinity itself is toxic, but rather that our current understanding of it has some elements that are harmful to men. And that feminists' position on toxic masculinity is actually a pro-male position. Feminists, a previously evil and insidious group of people, have become humanized in my eyes. I no longer hated them just because some people online told me that they are the enemy. And with that, I was out of the matrix. My fears evaporated, and I actually became more well-balanced and confident. Looking back at all the content I used to watch, all the alt-right type content, it all looks silly in retrospect. But I now also understand much better how someone can just be stuck in it. The number one factor that keeps people there being fear, which, coincidentally, happens to be one of the main driving forces behind modern conservatism. No wonder they found each other. As the years went by, some of these shouty men actually broke away from the alt-right, moving towards the center-left. But others, including Sargon of Akkad, have slipped deeper into it. Sargon himself became a white nationalist, and now serves as one of the many entry points for disaffected youth towards the far right. But thankfully, I think I've managed to avoid that vortex, and now I'd like to help other people do the same. I hope that, as I put out more and more leftist content, people from these alt-right circles will be able to find me, and hopefully I'll be able to change their minds. Just like how my mind was changed back in the day in light of new evidence. Or maybe I'll just get dogpiled or something, who knows. Anyway, for the time being, this far-right resurgence both on YouTube and in real life seems to have slowed down, so that's good. But still, the most important work we have right now, I feel like, is to prevent people from going down the far-right vortex. And that's what I'm going to do. Aside from making videos dunking on Elon Musk's stupid fucking ideas, first off because I really enjoy doing them, and second, because those things pull some serious audiences, like holy shit. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little blurb from me, and if you like my content then please consider liking and subscribing. And I'll see you when I'll see you.